Do you think a lot of people hold back because they have this fear of failing?
Forget about what you look like or how you're perceived and just put yourself out there, put yourself in the right rooms and the right spaces. Every brand is so different. Every customer is so different, and you need to do things based on the customers of the brand. And I think that's what good marketing is.
Maybe give us a bit of a picture of what you do.
I've been agency side, I've been tech side, I've had my own brand, and now I just get to pick projects and companies that I love and people that I love, and I go from there. A lot of people just see what's trending and mimic it. I think we need to move away from that and go back to the essence of your customer and your brand values.
What would you say is the consistent thing that kind of really keeps you going? Like, why are you excited about this space?
I've really appreciated the people who've supported me in my career journey, and I want to be able to give that back really authentically.
What do you think kind of moving into 2026 will be the most important thing for brands to truly crack?
I do think that
Carmel, incredibly excited to have you on the podcast. This is going to be interesting. I much prefer to be interviewed. You like to be the interviewer, and we're
exactly
swapping it today.
I feel a little bit uncomfortable being on the other side, but it's okay. I'm in safe hands.
We've known each other for a while, and you've been, I guess, following the instant journey for quite some time.
Yeah.
We were just chatting like from the first time after COVID, post COVID retail fest. We turned up with our little ice cream van, and we've known each other ever since then.
Yeah.
I think that so many people in the industry in Australia know you, look up to you. I think that you've worked across both in-house at an e-commerce brand, also on the tech side of things. So incredibly excited to have you on the podcast today.
Huge.
I think if you ask Carmel what she does, I mean, people would say everything. Maybe give us a bit of a picture and what you do.
Yeah, great question. I do a little bit of everything, but when people ask me, I think I'm at a stage in my life where I'm really proud to say at the moment I work on projects that I love with people that I love, and I feel so privileged that I'm able to do that now. But obviously that has come with years and years of experience and trying different things in my career as well. But I mean, I started off in e-commerce being event side. So I actually used to head up all the content for online retailer. That was my first role in e-commerce. That's where I fell in love with e-commerce.
One of the best events.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where it all started. And then, as you said, I've been agency side, I've been tech side, I've had my own brand. And then about 2.5 years ago, I sort of went out on my own as a consultant and also to grow the podcast, Humble Brags. And now I just get to pick projects and companies that I love and people that I love, and I go from there.
You've had such a varied career already, strategist, creative, on the e-commerce side, through the highs and lows of consumer spending, the highs and lows at being at tech companies, etc. What would you say is the consistent thing that kind of really keeps you going? Like, why are you excited about this space?
Honestly, for me, it's number one, the people. I feel like I have found some of my closest friends in this industry. And when you jump around in different sorts of roles, whether that's tech side, brand side, agency side, you're able to identify who your real people are throughout those roles. Because sometimes when you're in a role and a partner wants to work with you because you're a tech, or a tech company wants to work with you because you're brand side.
Yeah.
But when I've moved through all these roles, I've found like my people and my group of people who are so supportive. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about building the community in such an authentic way, because I've really appreciated the people who've supported me in my career journey, and I want to be able to give that back really authentically. And it's such a cool space where everyone is just willing to try things and continue to innovate. I think Australian e-commerce is amazing, and I just love being a part of it. It's fast-paced, it's energetic, and it's fun.
I think it's so different to so many other industries where people are so siloed. I feel like particularly in e-commerce or just in general here in Australia, everyone is so close. You see the same people at events. Everyone's sharing learnings. You've got incredible communities. Humble Brags being one of them. I mean, you host incredible retreats for founders. And I was like, I went along to the one in Tassie that we just had recently, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things though is like all these new founders in the space. It's sometimes can feel like a bit of a click. It's like you've got to know these people to then get invited to the events, to get into to learn the learnings.
Yep.
How do you get into it if you're a new founder?
That was me once upon a time when I was at working for online retailer. And I think the best thing that my manager did for me at that time, she was so hardcore about networking. It was a part of our role. So we would go to an event, and if she saw me standing around with one of my colleagues, she's like, what are you doing? And I think like people don't get that sort of management nowadays, but it was so good for me because I would go to an event and
you meet one person, then you meet the next three, and then the next six.
You have to put yourself out there, and you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Even I was telling you before, when I went to New York, I got people at my dinner because I just DM'd them on Instagram. So you really just have to get creative and ballsy about how you're meeting people and forget about what you look like or how you're perceived, and just put yourself out there, put yourself in the right rooms and the right spaces. If you admire someone, DM them on Instagram and ask them for a coffee.
Do you think a lot of people hold back because they have this fear of failing or being
rejected?
If I put myself out there and I fail, people are going to know that I failed because they tie my personality, my image to the business.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? Because your whole, your a big part of your life becomes things like humble brags, right?
You can develop that as a skill, but I think it's my personality. I genuinely don't care if somebody thinks a certain way of me because I'm focused on my goal. I know I have certain people in my corner, and I'm very strong in my value set that I just do what I need to do.
Has that always been the way?
Yeah, I think so. I became a single mum when I was 24. And then I had to start my career. So obviously going through that at such a young age has allowed me to have so much resilience and grit and all of those things. So I think it's not that it's always been that way. I probably used to care about what people thought of me a lot pre becoming a single mum.
Yep.
So I think life has taught me that.
I think it's incredible. I mean, and I think it's a big reason why so many people respect people like you, or this just persona that you have. It's just consistently learning, consistently experimenting, consistently meeting new people. I'm no better than anyone else around me. We're all on the same journey together. And it's a big part of why so many people look up to you. I really want to dig into, so many people know you because of, more recently anyway, around Humble Brags. I mean, you've gone from being a part of the community to also now creating the community, particularly here in Australia and now more recently in New York. I think so many people in e-commerce are across Humble Brags, and both yourself and Hannah, but not many people know how it started. Maybe talk to us about that. I think that Oyster Farm lunch with Hannah.
So Hannah and I first connected over food. We're big foodies, and that's how we connected. I met Hannah, I don't know, like maybe 5-6 years ago now. She was in the payments side of the industry, and I was agency side. And that's the thing about Hannah and I. Hannah's the same sort of quality as me, is that she's such a people person, super down to earth, like I said, foodie, and she was not scared to put herself out there. So I was head of brand marketing for an agency. She was partnership manager for payments, and she needed to connect with that agency. So she reached out to me and said, hey, can I take you to this really beautiful restaurant for some oysters? And I said, absolutely. So we went for lunch, and then we quickly, instantly connected. Yeah. And we remained friends. And through that, we saw each other go through many different career transitions, and we were always there for each other, supporting each other in each other's corners, and also created a group around us of just amazing women and men who were going along that journey with us. And at one point, I had a friend who had just recently got some equity in a podcast studio and said, hey, I've got a free studio if you're interested in creating some content. And I said, yes, but I have a friend that I need to bring along. So I went to Hannah and I said, hey, we know so many amazing founders, and we have such a great community. Why don't we showcase that? And at the time, podcasts, it's about 2.5 years ago, they weren't that popular like they are now. And Hannah, being Hannah's, just said, yep, let's do it.
Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try it. And we didn't really think anything of it. We didn't have some grand plan or strategy. We just did it for fun, and we got our friends on it. We got Anita, we got Priscilla, everyone who we were friends with. Just come, let's interview you. And that's how it started.
You've interviewed so many incredible people on the podcast. What's the standout conversation
Oh, this is such a hard question. Everyone always asks me.
Because everyone's incredible, right?
Everyone's incredible in their own ways, and it's just like every episode is so different. I find.
What stories do you like hearing about most then consistently across everyone? Like, is it around their... I feel like you dive into, say, things like their challenges a lot and how they kind of push through it, right?
I love when people aren't afraid to talk about their failures and challenges. There's a little bit of, I don't know, in Australia we have like tall poppy syndrome, right, compared to the US. So I love it when they get there. And I think Anita's really good at doing that.
Yeah.
Just talking about challenges and roadblocks and things like that. Obviously, Priscilla's great at doing that too. And then the conversations with people like Viv from Girls Get Off, who's in such a taboo industry, but is just out there loud and proud talking about what she does. I love authentic and real conversations.
How did you land on the name Humble Brags?
It used to be Humble Brags and Shopping Bags. And when we were working with Logic Studios and my friend Ed from Sales Inc., we all brainstormed the name together. We wanted something that's like, we knew we wanted it to be super down to earth, which is where Humble Brags came from. And then the nod to e-commerce was Shopping Bags at the time. We ended up dropping the Shopping Bags and now we're just landed with Humble Brags.
If you look at, I think it's an incredible name, and I think it's enabled the podcast and the community to be more about just the next e-commerce tip. Yep. It's a huge part of it now, of the community that you've built, is the founders behind these brands and their emotions and the vulnerabilities that they've experienced and consistently go through. And I think Anita again talks with the Anita show. She was on here the other day as well, and she also does an amazing job at going like, well, sure, you see all of my, all the good things on my Instagram story, but what about all the shit that I deal with every day as well?
Totally.
And this is something that you speak about a lot, is like this founder vulnerability and emotion.
Yeah.
Talk, like, why?
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we all are just doing as much as we can. I've been a founder myself, and I'm also going through the founder journey now with this new brand. And you can you can't pretend that you know what you're doing all the time. Everyone has struggles. Business is so intertwined with your personal life. As a founder, it consumes you. It's what's putting money on the table for your family. And to ignore that is just, I don't know, it's just ignoring facts. So the founder journey is so important. And that's why I've come to this intersection of health and well-being with founders, with our retreats, because they are so interconnected. I want to make sure we give founders that space to go, hey, I know that this is your grind and your hustle and it's your whole life and your family. And now Humble Brags really wants to give you the space to just take some time out. We'll enable you with things like sauna or massage or sound bath or whatever to give you that time that you might not be giving yourself, because we know how intertwined your health is with your business.
You've been on the founder journey yourself, whether that's your own business, working with co-founders, working at an early stage company as well, right?
Yeah.
You almost need to act like a founder in so many ways.
Totally.
What's been the hardest challenge in your career?
The hardest challenge in my career, I'm such an entrepreneur at heart, and I think because I lead with such passion and I care about community and specific values, I bring that with me in every role that I had previously. And I think my challenge is that some companies like maybe don't value that. Like, it's really focused on ROI and sales. And I have always had to balance that with, but what are we doing for the community? And maybe this doesn't have an ROI. And how are we thinking about diversity and inclusion? And being loud about those things is not easy. Like, whether it's speaking as a minority or whatever, it's just not easy to like speak up about those things. And there are some people that I really respect in the industry, like Kelly Slessor, who's such an advocate of things like that. But I've found that as a challenge, because sometimes the louder you are, if you're working for someone else about those things, you're actually sort of penalized for it in a way.
Of course.
And that's been my...
If your boss doesn't agree with it, you're shut down.
100%.
Pushed to the side. It's not a priority. Let's think about it later.
Exactly.
How have you pushed through that in your career then?
I don't compromise on my values. So if it's not sitting right, I've had to make hard decisions to leave companies because of that. Now I think I'm so privileged to be running my own business and representing my own brand. And that's why I'm so passionate that Humble Brags always respects everyone in our community. And I make sure that I incorporate all those values in every event I do as well.
I think, and it's so important. You see so many people skew away from their values and regret it years later, right?
Yeah.
I think another big part of being a super successful founder is sure feeling out of your depth in some ways, but pushing through it and consistently learning. Has there ever been a moment where you've completely felt out of your depth and you've just kept going?
All the time. All the time. I mean, just being like a young mum, you feel that, right? So I've taken that sort of with me in my careers. When I went from online retailer, I was just producing content for an e-commerce conference, and it was really fun. And I got to go to New York, Shop Talk and NRF and everything. And then I got poached for an agency and I was like, yeah, awesome. I'm going deeper into e-commerce. I didn't realize what going into an agency actually meant. It was an end-to-end full stack digital agency with customers like Coca-Cola, Accent Group, Cochlear, like really huge companies. And then I've come in with no technical e-commerce experience at all. I just used to run events. And now I'm heading up marketing for this huge digital agency. And I was surrounded by super smart techie people. And they straight away said, hey, we want you to represent the company and go to iMedia. iMedia, you're having sales pitches with people. So I was completely out of my depth. But I thought, hey, what a privilege it is to even be in this scenario and to work for such a great company and to advance in my career that I just need to fake it till I make it.
Absolutely. It's true, right? You have to, otherwise you fall behind or people don't respect you and it's not even consciously, it's just subconsciously people start to go, oh, well, we'll just start to give the opportunity to someone else. We'll just give the opportunity to someone else. Whereas if you just push your way through it, it's like the next opportunity and the next opportunity. It's like this momentum of opportunities just starts to fly in.
Absolutely.
I think one of the biggest things is on the point about learning all the time is the e-commerce landscape is changing so rapidly. What it was when you started in your career in e-com to what it is now is completely different, right? You've got agencies moving from being very manual to AI first. You've got AI becoming such a huge thing in general. Then you've got the huge debate around, well, is AI where I want to go as a business, as an overarching thing? And do I want to stay really personalized and not have AI in my business? Then you've got the whole changes around a lot of businesses don't need huge teams anymore. A lot of process is all consolidated and much easier. You've got the huge shifts around things like creative and advertising, huge shifts around, not just dumping all the money into meta ads and actually building a community and investing a lot more into product, for example. If you kind of look at e-commerce and just the way brands are built over the next 5 years, what do you think will be the fundamental differences?
I really think that I'm a marketer and I'm working brand side at the moment, and I'm seeing a lot of businesses strip back a lot of their marketing strategies. I think that a lot of brands were focused on perception in market and focused on themselves as a brand a little bit too much. And I think it's so important to focus on your customer and not lose sight on that.
What does that mean?
So I think there's so many consultants, agencies who say, if you want to increase your ROAS, if you want to get ROI, you have to do this. I personally, even as a marketing consultant, would just never say anything like that, like one generic statement. Every brand is so different. Every customer is so different, and you need to do things based on the customers of the brand. And I think that's what good marketing is. You need to be agile. I agree that lean teams are really great instead of hiring for the sake of hiring. Like if I look 5 years ago, everyone wanted to be the best place to work. It was accolades like that was so important. And now people are stripping back. Like you can work with a lean team. You can be agile.
The first question everyone asks you is, how big's your team? Whereas, 5 years ago, now it's the smaller the team, the better.
100%. When I first started consulting to B2C furniture, it was, it's a small family business. It's like a 15 mil a year business. We're now 30 mil revenue business. Still a lean team, still a family business. But the beauty of that is that we are so agile. We test and learn really quickly, fail really quickly, try something really quickly. Our customer support team are so in the trenches, like understanding what the customer wants. I'm looking at piloting a loyalty program at the moment. I'm not just going to put in a tech and trial loyalty. I'm going to handpick a selection of customers to really learn about them and put them through a beta loyalty program without a tech or a platform to host that. But it's okay. It's a lot of manual labor for me, but I'm going to literally give some loyalty perks to 10 of our customers, learn about them before I scale.
Yep.
And I think that's something that will continue to happen, like in the industry. I think that AI will definitely support all of this, especially when it comes to reporting and analytics. Like for me as a brand marketer, there are so many gaps in reporting, brand awareness.
Yep.
And I think AI will be amazing for that, because we'll be able to really understand what our brand marketing initiatives are doing. And I see brand marketing becoming more of a focus in the next 5 years, with AI tools enabling that too.
How do you prioritize what to work on next? Like, you've got, as everything is AI, but then you've got the loyalty, like you've mentioned, there's a new product in shipping and a new product in returns. And if you read all of them, your business will 10 times overnight, but there's still this push and pull in terms of what do we actually prioritize next? What are you prioritizing moving into next year?
The way that I go about how to prioritize is that you need every member of each team. You need the visibility and you need their voice. So you need to have someone from ops and logistics, customer service, marketing, your founders, all in a room talking about the pain points, because you can't make those decisions in silos.
Yep.
Because, if let's say, we need to do more marketing, but then is logistics going to be able to keep up with that? Do we even have the stock available? Like, there's so many moving parts. Like, do we want to open a new store? How is that going to impact revenue? So the way that I look at it is by having every member of every team in a room talking about everything on a quarterly basis. You can't set a year strategy. Everything changes so quickly that you need to be doing these things on a quarterly basis. But if I'm looking from my perspective right now of what I'm prioritizing, it really is how do we make our customers feel special, because we're still focusing on retention. I'm talking about specifically furniture at the moment. It's so hard to nail retention with furniture, and also my new brand as well. It's something I'm thinking about because it will be subscription based. So for me, it's the loyalty of your customers and how you're making them feel special. I really love marketing a one-to-many approach. So if you can make your customers feel like you are directly speaking to them, and then how do you add in technology that is going to enable you to do that without being manual?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's also huge talk around influencers starting to become not as important for brands moving into 2026, 2027. I think that there's, a lot of fashion brands, for example, have dumped so much money into it, but they've realized very quickly that product and community is overly and much more important. And so many other brands, I've had a couple of people on the podcast as well that have gone like, no, in next year, we're not really investing in influencers as much. And that's going to be very interesting to see the results of that.
Totally.
Other brands are completely leaning into it and they're moving away from Meta. What are your thoughts on the influencers?
I'm personally leaning into customers as your influencers and building a community around customers.
So as an example to that, I really love what Brittany at Fate the Label does with their retreats. They've moved away from bringing along influencers to their retreat and their customers, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
It's amazing, and they appreciate it so much. They don't get those perks in their everyday life. So for me, it's going to be a focus on how am I building community with customers who are already advocates genuinely. And then when I look at affiliates or influencers, I'm looking at brand ambassadors rather than working with many influencers. And it's something that I implemented for B2C furniture last year. We chose Sam and Snez as brand ambassadors on a year contract. And that's been great for us because you're able to leverage them in so many different ways, whether it's content or appearances in store. Or I've launched a mini series called B2C Cribs, mimicking MTV Cribs, and they're the hosts of that. So just really forming like a strong brand ambassador and then focusing on your customers as a community.
And obviously you've been like a champion at content, and you're obsessed with awesome content, interviewing great people, more from an inspirational perspective. And how do you think that translates into actual brands? You have huge experience in content in general. How do you think brands should be investing in content?
I think brands...
Do you think they should be investing in it at all?
Absolutely. I think there was a big thing last year about founder content, and I think it's starting to fade a little bit because not every founder needs to be in front of the camera, if it's not natural to them. But I think brands just I follow Meshki and I absolutely love their content. I think that they're killing it with everything that they're doing. And because they do such a mix of varied they play around with AI, they do like really cool content shoots. But for me, it's like I said, with B2C furniture, we've created a mini TV show. And I think that's how brands need to look at how they're approaching their content. A lot of people just see what's trending and mimic it. I think we need to move away from that and like go back to the essence of your customer and your brand values, and then just release. It's not always about getting the sale. That's what we have to be detached from. It's not always about pushing the product in your content. It just has to be engaging, and it has to resonate with who your customers are, and just get more creative around that.
Well, LSKD as well is like a perfect example more recently. If you look at their Black Friday campaign, they've got, I saw they did a piece of content the other day of pranking Jason, the CEO, of stealing their LSKD bus, which is, and people watch it, engage with it, and they start to, it's just having LSKD up there in the corner. People see it.
Yeah.
Meshki, as you said, perfect example. The thing that I think stands out though with these brands is content sure is amazing, but they are obsessed with experimentation. The best brands, I think, are obsessed with experimentation. They don't mind being the first on a new tool.
Yep.
They don't mind being the first to experiment with a new piece of content. They don't mind experimenting with, a new packaging. They don't mind they're just obsessed with experimentation. And every time, I'm interested to hear your thoughts, whether, like, on your recent trips to the US, I feel like this is something that really stands out on why US brands are sometimes very, very fast growing. The best brands over there are just so obsessed with experimentation. If I think of like Liquid IV, Groons, they're growing incredibly quickly. Some of these insanely large brands that have almost grown super quickly overnight. Experimentation.
Yeah.
What do you think we can learn, like, as Australian brands, on what can we like reflect from the US here?
I love just even walking around in New York and going into store, and their experiential retail was next level. And it's even the little touches, I think, that we can learn a lot from here in Australia. I think what we can learn from certain brands like the US is, I think we get too caught up on trying something and failing.
Sure.
We don't remember things that brands did and that they didn't do well. You only remember the things that they did well and the moments that go viral. And I think that's just something that, Australians are a little bit scared of, especially because it's a small industry and you feel like everyone's watching you and everyone knows what you're doing. But in reality, no one cares.
It's like a big country town. Australia, everyone knows you.
Exactly. But everyone's going to forget. Like,
Sure.
No one really cares. Don't take yourself.
No one knows what you did for Black Friday last year.
Exactly.
No
a year
one
later,
remembers. No one remembers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we just have to let go of that fear a little bit of what if it doesn't work, or even that it has to be super polished or perfect before you release something. It doesn't need to. You just need to try it. I think that trying new tech, I'm really big on trying new tech, and I'll always, if someone's pitching me, I'll say, cool, can I do a trial? Can I get on a 3-month trial? Just trial it. What's the harm? Like, people get scared that they're going to get locked into something. Just communicate with the tech partner and say, hey, can I do a trial? And we've used some really...
And especially with like platforms like Shopify today, it's, a lot of brands aren't on Magento anymore, that it takes, 6 months to push something live, and then it's got to get into Salesforce, and then it's got to plug into some, other system, and it takes a year for an engineer to, push one little feature or one new product live. Like, now it's straight away. Exactly. A lot of the time an e-commerce manager or a founder can just do it themselves.
Exactly.
Follow, a set of instructions.
Yeah.
And it's done in, 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
How do you think about experimenting with new tech? Like, I think that a lot of... Yeah. Because a lot of founders fear it.
Yeah. But I think, once you actually do it, and like you said, see how easy it is now. And mind you, B2C Furniture is still on Magento, but we have a really great dev team, like in-house. So it's still easy to do.
Right.
We prioritize it because...
Sorry, I didn't know that you were still on Magento. It wasn't
fine.
a dig at all.
I don't like it. We'll move eventually. But, I think the more that you try it, and see.
Out of all the platforms to say, I pick on you.
I know. It's so fun. The more you try it and see that you can get really good success from it. Like we integrated Tolstoy the other day, and it's just that little simple thing has been game changer. Putting UGC, because we are on Magento, and so our user experience is a bit harder to do, but just putting Tolstoy on the website and having that amazing, and it's been game changer for us. So now I'm like, okay, what else can we do?
This episode will be released post Black Friday. So this Black Friday coming now, what's the plan?
We are already in motion. So obviously, because we're furniture, so we have had to launch it well in advance. But our plan is, how do you increase subscribers?
Okay.
Pre-Black Friday. So, for example, we did a huge giveaway and all these things. Everyone does. But then what are you doing afterwards? What are you doing with all these new subscribers that are there? And how you're nurturing it, because I think sometimes you're focused on Black Friday, but I'm really focused on what we're doing after Black Friday. We're really lucky that Black Friday is like record breaking already for us. So now it's just like, okay, what are we doing afterwards to nurture, to keep them, and to continue that momentum?
Do you feel like there's plenty of learnings from Black Friday that brands or founders should take into the rest of the year? I feel like everyone obsesses about Black Friday, which is obviously the correct thing to do. And you should be thinking about it 6 months in advance, of course. That's been the way forever. But I feel like there's a huge opportunity to think about the Black Friday style campaign during your own invented time of the year, whether you're a brand that sells to mums, okay, we can do something massive around Mother's Day. Or you're a brand that sells to dads, all right, we can do something massive around Father's Day. Like, how do you think about sale periods throughout the rest of the year? Is there anything you replicate from Black Friday?
So I actually do it the other way around. So I test everything throughout the year so that I can implement them during our biggest sales period.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's how I approach it. However, still during Black Friday, we're still playing around with different segments. Like, we're still playing around with abandoned browse. Even when our sale ends, this is going to be released after Black Friday, so I'm not going to ruin any sales here. But after the sale ends, like, we are still capturing people who may not have purchased during the sale, but they've abandoned their cart, they've abandoned their browse. Then we hit them with that plain text email from the founder saying, hey, you didn't shop. Like, do you want us to extend, we've extended the sale for you, things like that. So you still, during Black Friday, it's not all focus on the sale. It's playing around with different segments, playing around with different pop-ups on your website, understanding which products are being sold that you're then going to use for the rest of the year, because I personally don't like getting customers addicted to sales. So what are the other triggers that made them purchase? So throughout Black Friday, we are going to do an SMS and say, if you purchase today, you get $1,000. So how do you make people purchase quicker without, with other incentives as well?
Like, falsify urgency in a sense.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing for brands is and a lot of brands are doing, like the pre-Black Friday 3 hours, 50% off sales, or they're locking their website entirely. What are your thoughts on those types of things? Like, what's the most creative Black Friday sale that you've seen at the moment?
Question. So many brands are getting more creative, but I think the ones, they're all somewhat similar.
There's always a trend every year. Like, this year's trend is the shutting the website down and then doing the 3 hour sale.
Exactly.
2 weeks before.
Which some in, like, majority of industries you can, some industries you can't do it if it's a considered product.
Yeah.
The best ones. I feel B2C's was the best one. We've done. We're completely.
Well, it's standout for a relatively hard industry as well, right?
Yeah. I think it's, how do you keep sales consistent throughout the entire month? For me as a marketer, that's my standout, because I think when you launch a sale, you're going to get customers. Like, that's a given. But how do you keep sales consistent throughout the entire month? For me, that's what I think is really smart.
Yep. Whilst protecting the margin and the profit and not getting your customer addicted to the sales, etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you think kind of moving into 2026 will be the most important things for brands to truly crack? Like, is it loyalty? Is it community? Comparing ourselves to 2025? If we even look at 2022, 2023, everyone was talking about Afterpay.
Yeah.
No one talks about that anymore.
Yeah.
Last year everyone's talking about shipping and consolidation.
Yeah.
No one's talking about that much now.
Yeah.
It's obviously still a huge thing.
Yeah.
What do you think next year will kind of look like?
about AI, and I know it's very generic, but I do think that the way that we're talking about AI is understanding the impact of your marketing initiatives through AI. And that's what I'm going to be looking at. Like, I really want to understand, and I said this before, like particularly around brand marketing, of the impact that brand marketing has on a business, because I think a lot of brands now are trying to really develop a personality in order to get that loyalty. But how do you measure that? And there's going to be a lot, I think a lot more brands are going to find ways to diversify revenue streams. So it's not going to be just through Meta and Google. People are going to start playing around with, billboards again. They're going to do outdoor advertising.
People are searching on ChatGPT now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a culmination of all of these new marketing channels and streams and the way that you're analyzing those initiatives.
I'm the biggest piece of feedback I'm giving to so many brands at the moment is a brand will say like, oh, how is the AI learning about what my product does? Or how does it know my tone of voice? And I actually think the most important thing with, whether with whatever you're doing in the AI realm, and so many people are investing in it and focusing on it, or just even playing around with it, I actually think the most important thing is going to be your website. And the copy on your website, the copy on your product pages, the copy of your About Us page,
Yes.
the copy of your, the copy on your pages is all of a sudden the most important thing that you can't rush through.
It is.
Because that's where the AI is learning.
It is. And you need to have dedicated landing pages that are hidden from the public, which is speaking directly to LLM. And it has specific coding. We're implementing that now as we speak because, like as you said, it's going to pick up from the website, but not only the visible parts of your website. You need to have other landing pages that are not discoverable.
Exactly. And so many brands will go like, oh, well, the AI is getting my tone of voice wrong. And it's getting that tone of voice from somewhere. Exactly. And you'll zoom in and help them understand it. It's like, well, this product page was written 5 years ago. It doesn't even have the right branding. Doesn't even have the right, it's not in the script. Yep. You've rushed through it. All of a sudden, that becomes the most important thing. So I think it's actually, like, a lot of people are fearing, like, oh, is AI going to steal my job? I just think some things are going to really shift towards, no, we're just going to spend a lot more time now on making sure the top level things like our website is absolutely crisp, because it makes everything else easier. But we've still got to spend that same amount of human energy on making our website amazing and understanding our customer and understanding our tone of voice and understanding our community and understanding what that shopper wants around loyalty.
Absolutely. And it's not just the website. It's your Google My Business page. It's your forums on Reddit. And AI is not going to tell you to go on a Reddit forum and what they're saying, and it's not going to update your Google My Business for you. So it just needs that thought process.
Humble brags next year.
Yes.
Very excited for that. It's been a great year last year, great year this year.
Yes.
The events are ramping up in just how good they are, and continuously incredible people in attendance. I think there's so many people that would love to be there, and excited to see it continue to grow. What's coming next year?
We're excited to continue partnering with Instant. So we're super excited about that. So next year, obviously our founders retreats have been a hit. Like I said, we mix.
They're good fun.
They're good fun. They're down to earth. It's that mixture of health and wellness and business.
I think the biggest thing is just the contact book you walk away with as well. Being able to, especially for the founders of these brands, like being able to ring up Priscilla at Bang & Body, or because you've met her at the event.
Yeah, exactly.
And these people that are so busy ordinarily, like it's so
now
hard to get a call.
Now you're spending 2 nights away with them, which is amazing. And we also, I'm very big on creating obviously we're not a tech platform. We're not selling anything as Humble Brags. We're doing it for community. So the content is directed at the founders. Like we're not pushing any sort of agenda on our end. And they really appreciate that. So next year we'll be launching 2 more founders retreats.
Nice.
We will be doing a lot of different sorts of events. So think like, whether it's a 1-day event or little like experiential 1-day events throughout Australia for sure. We'll continue the podcast content, of course. We have our merch going as well, which we're going to continue to do. And we're just going to continue growing the community. And we've obviously launched into the US now, so we'll continue working with
more
the US.
billboards in New York.
Maybe, yeah.
That was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, we partnered with a billboard tech company on that one called Cassie, and they kind of like did it all for us, and it was amazing.
It was amazing. I think that platform's amazing. I think so many brands are starting to use it. Out of home is becoming popular again, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But Carmel, thanks for coming on the podcast. I think it's obvious why so many people look up to you. Your experience through the e-commerce space is crazy inspiring. I think your positivity is wild, and excited to see where Humble Brags goes in 2026. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me.